So what are we cooking today? Today we are cooking a simple one-pot chicken pilau, similar to a chicken biryani, but not as spicy, very family friendly. I've got here about 700 grams of chicken breast and thigh mixed together, boneless. About 300 grams of basmati rice. I've been soaking this for about half an hour. I washed it thoroughly. Got some baby potatoes, about 5 or 6 baby potatoes. Got a cup of peas, some green chilies we're going to be using in this. Bit of garlic paste, ginger paste, lots of onions. We're going to be cooking this in ghee. I've got a bit of saffron, I don't know if you can see. Some plain yogurt, a touch of milk. I'm going to put the saffron in the milk. Some whole spices, and a few of the usual suspects ground spices. A touch of coriander. We're going to use this big karai. You can use a big pot. So yeah, let's get cooking. I've got this karai. It's on a medium heat, getting a bit hot. So I've got some ghee that I'm going to put in there. That's about, so this is a dessert spoon. What we're going to do is fry off some onions in there that we're going to use for the dish and also for the garnish. We'll crisp them up. So all I've done is cover. Remember, we need the same pan for everything. So this is going to cook the rice. Let that melt away. So I've got here, so it's about 4 medium-sized onions, white onions, that I've chopped up. I'm just going to fry them in small batches. You can do it in just regular oil. You can even buy them shop bought, but it's not the same. There's no salt or anything added to that. So we're just going to let that cook till they're really brown and then do another batch. There's a couple of batches of the onions we need to do, and I'll show you how they look in a moment. So these have been cooking for about 3-4 minutes on a medium to high heat. So as you can see, they're changing color slowly. So when they get quite dark golden, we'll remove that, put them on a nice flat plate, spread them out a bit so they start crisping up. The next batch we're now going to remove. We're just going to do the onions again. So this time we'll cook the chicken. They're very quick now, they're browning up, so just want to keep stirring them to reduce the heat a little bit. Almost the color I want. There's a few stragglers, but that's fine. So we're looking at, look at that. Now this is an additional step. You don't have to do this. You buy short board, but it's not the same. So we're going to, I'm removing most of this one now. Get that on a nice, yeah, spread them out a bit. And if they do go a bit sour, you can always just put them in the oven for a couple of minutes, but trust me, this is more for garnish later on. So in the same pan, we've got it on a, so we have the onions like this. Okay, reduce the heat a little bit. I'm going to throw in some whole spices, so not too many whole spices this one. You can use them because it's very light, so we've got a couple of cardamons, cassia, a couple of cloves, and a small piece of Indian tejpata, and about half a teaspoon of cumin. So that's, you can see it's quite hot. So now I'm going to add the onions. Let that cook out a little. Got about a nice heaped teaspoon of salt. You can add more later. Medium heat now, so we're going to again brown this off a little, and then add a bit of garlic and ginger. So let that cook out. So when it's a light golden, a bit more translucent, then we're going to add some garlic and ginger paste. So let that cook out. So that should take approximately about 5 minutes on a medium heat. Now the onions getting a light golden color there. I'm going to add some garlic and ginger paste. So I would say about 1-2 teaspoons. That was 2 teaspoons of garlic paste, 2 teaspoons of ginger paste. Let that cook out. Now, can you see? Colors are developing, changing color into a nice and nutty brown, nutty golden brown. That's what we're after now. There's a bit of liquid in the garlic and ginger. That's making the The ghee bubble a little bit. So at this stage, we're still cooking it, trying to get a little bit of caramelization on the onions. Look at that. But we don't want to take it too far in the caramelization stakes. Don't want it too brown yet. When the chicken is added, we'll start cooking a bit more. So we're going to add spices in a moment. So just let that cook out a bit more. Now you can see it's become a nice light golden. Have a closer look there. Look at that. So we're going to add our spices, and look, it's starting to catch as well. So reduce the heat a little bit so it's not burning, overcooking. Spice-wise, I'm going to add just a small smidgen, like a quarter of a teaspoon of turmeric. And we've got just 2 teaspoons of cumin, 1.5 teaspoons of coriander, and 1 teaspoon of garam masala. There's no red chili powder added to this dish. Don't want it too spicy, but we are going to add some fresh green chilies in a moment, and that will add a bit of heat in the background. You can see the colors we're after now. So we're looking at a nice. And we've got saffron as well. That's going to color the dish. You can add some yogurt. That's 2 heaped teaspoons to start with. Let that cook out. Look at that. You can see it's already catching at the bottom. So adding a bit of liquid, a little moisture to this. It's starting to deglaze. I like to add a bit of coriander to that, just to lift it a little bit. You can see now we're developing the base masala for the chicken and for the actual pilau itself. I'm going to add the chicken now. I've cut them in bite-sized pieces, so it cooks quite quickly. Like I said, this is a very easy, quick method. You don't have to do the garnish, that makes it even quicker. So it's a good one pot method. Normally we either layer it or you make a yakni, which is a stock with the chicken. So many different ways, but hopefully this one you can do very quickly. We're going to cook the chicken out till it changes color, and you'll see it starts cooking out. So I'm going to whack the heat up a little bit, and once it changes color, then we can add the potatoes. Chicken is starting to get a bit of color there. Look. Cooking nicely. So this is on it's on high heat. So I want the chicken to catch a bit of color as well. Look at that. So let that cook out even more. Half of it's changed. What I want to do is add some potatoes to that. Now if you want it spicier, you can add more spice to it, more chilies. We're going to cook this and then incorporate the rice. We take this out, incorporate cook the rice out a little bit, incorporate the rice, and you'll have a nice simple pilau. Now I've got some green chilies, so I'm going to put that in there whole. I haven't done anything to that. That gives a bit of a background flavor to this dish. Just keep stirring, and I'm going to add a touch of coriander. You can also add nuts if you really want to. Some cashew nuts, I think, goes nice with this. So we're almost getting cooked out there. As you can see, it's been cooking very nicely. I'm going to add a bit more yogurt. So we had already about 2 heaped teaspoons, so I'd say it's about 1.5 heaped teaspoon. So just want to add a bit more liquid to that. But the main thing is the potatoes will take a bit longer to cook. So when the potatoes are almost done, then this base curry for your biryani will be ready as well. So I'm just going to put a lid on that, cook that for about 10 minutes on a medium heat, and then we'll come back and put the rice together. So it's been about 10 minutes. Let's have a look. What's happened? Wow, so that's the basic curry. Okay, look at that. That's your basic chicken to that. And I'm just going to add, so I've got a whole cup of peas. Add that. These won't take long to cook, of course. Let that cook out for a minute or so, just to add a bit of coriander to this. Add a nice depth of flavor to it. So what we're going to do now, with a slotted spoon, I'm just going to remove the chicken into a separate bowl. We'll reintroduce that in a second. So we have chicken removed from the dish. I'm going to add just a tiny amount of a little bit of ghee, that much. I'm going to just quickly cook out the rice a little bit. They've already got the flavors of the chicken that we've been cooking, so I'm going to increase the heat a bit now. I've got the rice in soaking. I've got 350 grams of plain basmati I've washed and soaked for about half an hour, so I'm going to add that now. A little bit of salt, we'll just cook. So what we do, we're just going to coat this rice quickly. Adds another depth of flavor. Now we need about just under less than double the amount of liquid in the rice. So if we use about 350, looking at about 600 milliliters of liquid. Now what I've got here, I've got some 200 milliliters of milk, some saffron in there. So we're just going to slowly infuse that into that. We'll let that come to a boil, and then in the same jug added another 100 milliliters of approximately water. So I'm just going to let that come to a boil. And water-wise, you might need to add a little bit more. Some water handy. Once we add the chicken, you can. Normally, we want the water to be about 1.5 inches above the chicken. As you can see, the saffron and everything. So let that come to a boil. And once that comes to a boil, you'll start seeing that cooking. So we want it sort of semi-cooked. And then we add the chicken back in. Like I said, just keep an eye on it. And if you need a bit more water, it's not a problem. But there's quite a bit of liquid in the chicken curry. And then we'll bring it to a boil and we put it on a very low heat, put the lid on and cook out until the potatoes are until the potatoes are done. The chicken's already cooked. And then we garnish and we serve. You can see that's coming to a nice boil. What I'm going to do, I'm going to reintroduce the chicken to this and the potatoes. So we just gently put it in the middle there. So there's a lot of liquid in the chicken. Just give this a nice stir. See, stir that in. Can you see that? Got colors are developing there. Just going to put a bit of coriander on top. And I'll check after a few minutes the liquid. If it needs a tiny bit more, it's better to put a bit less in. You can add a bit more in. So we bring it to the boil, and then I'm going to put it on very low heat and cook it for about 15-20 minutes. The lowest setting you can have, and that will steam the rice out. You will have an amazing chicken pilau. Put the lid on. Now the pilau has been cooking away for about 20 minutes or so. I added a touch more water to it because it looked a bit drier. About another 50 mils to 100 mils. Hopefully, let's have a look at it now. Let's see how we have cooked. Oh wow! Oh wow! Look at that. You'll be able to see the rice. Yeah, the rice is all cooking. It's almost done. Still, I think it needs a few more minutes. So now what we can do, add a bit more of this coriander. What we'll do is add a bit more coriander and crispy onions. So it's cooked. I can see it's all cooked nicely. But we'll switch the heat off and it will just steam up itself. So So there you have very easy. Take it off the heat. What will happen, it will just steam up a little bit more. It will rest and then we'll be ready to serve. So this has been on a very, very low flame. Put the decorations, garnishes on, and now we have a look at that. And there you have it. Look at that. Look at that. That is just, the rice just cooked perfectly. I like to just leave it without any heat, a few minutes before I serve. It will still be very hot, and I'll let you know how it tastes. I'll show you a plate of it soon. Enjoy.